Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity of Charlottesville. You may have looked outside your window and noticed that it is not snowing. But we do have a state of emergency from the governor, and I just got an alert on my phone that it's supposed to begin at 10 o'clock, a little after 10 o'clock. So we're doing this for safety first, and we're glad that you're all here. I hope you all got all our numerous attempts to reach out and let you know that this would be Zoom only this morning. But I see that you're here, so you're all welcome. Someone says it's snowing in Greenwood. All right, there we go. We're vindicated. So we're going to begin this morning with a song from our wonderful Blair, and we'll go to that now. What a great song. Well, welcome everybody who's just getting on, and welcome to Unity of Charlottesville. And you know, it's amazing. It was just a couple of years ago when the only way that we could do church service when there was a canceled, snow was coming and we had to cancel. The only way to do it was on conference phone. And I can, the last time that Patricia and I did this by conference phone, we were tromping in 2 feet of snow trying to find a cell signal, doing the Sunday service as we were tromping through the snow. So technology has really come a long way just in these couple of years, hasn't it? It's amazing, so that we can all be here together. So it's great to see you all. And I'm very excited about today. We have with us today Jackie Woodside. She's here online. You can see her. And Jackie is a life coach. She's a corporate trainer, an international recognized trainer. She's a best-selling author on USA Today and Amazon. She's been a longtime member of Unity, has been a board president of Unity Church for many, many years. And I've gotten to see her and know her from several of the Eastern Region Unity conferences where she's been a keynote speaker. So very excited. She spent the day with our board yesterday talking about the things that she's going to be talking about today, which is money and the meaning of life. And then later on this afternoon from 1 to 3 of the Money Vibe workshop. So very excited about that. So let us begin with prayers as our custom and our tradition. So I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath. And how blessed we are with this technology that allows us to be in the safety of our homes today, and yet to come together in spiritual community, to absolutely transcend the boundaries of time and space in our prayer consciousness. And to know that as spiritual community, we are here as one to support each other, to uphold each other in our spiritual journeys, to make a difference in this world by our consciousness, by our commitment to spiritual growth. And so we give great thanks for all of the blessings of this day. And we always include in our prayers these days, prayers for all of our frontline workers and hospital workers and doctors and nurses and staff and scientists, all of those that are seeking an end to this pandemic around the world. We give them our prayer support, our love, our light. And we pray for the people in Texas this morning in the synagogue and for faith communities all around the world, affirming that worship places, houses of worship, should be a safe place for all to come. We pray all of this now in the name and after the nature of the indwelling Christ, and so it is. Amen. And let's join together in our statement of faith. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. Well, as I said yesterday, we had our board training with Jackie Woodside, and I'd like to introduce Maria Stein, our board president. We want to welcome in our new board members and bid farewell to some of our old board members. Maria, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Yay. Goodness, it is such a time of transition in our world, and our Unity board is no different. We had just the wonderful, incredible pleasure and privilege to have Jackie Woodside with us yesterday, working with us and really helping us as a board and as individual board members to grow in our prosperity consciousness. And we are so excited to, as a board, be doing this work. And we really encourage everyone in the community to who can come to the workshop today and embark on this journey with us. And again, as part of our transition, we are welcoming new board members and also sadly saying farewell from the board to members who are coming off of the board. So first, I would like to just offer a few words to the people who are coming off of the board. So Janice Gilmore, I know you're here somewhere. I can feel you. The way I think about our board members sometimes is just sort of like of elements of the earth. And when I think of Janice, I think of a brook. And I know the word that goes with brook is babbling. So I want to reframe that. When I think of Janice, she does have this this irrepressible exuberance, joy for life, joy in love, this extreme just positivity. And sometimes in board meetings, the energy can get heavy and we're worried about COVID or finances. And Janice is always there, just with this, helping us remember that flow of life and the joy and exuberance. And so, Janice, we already just miss that energy. And thank you so much for your love, for your dedication, for your passion for Unity of Charlottesville and the spiritual community that we have. Yes, thank you, Janice. And then to Barbara Olin. So when I think of Barbara, I think of the mighty oak tree. And oak trees are so beautiful because they are grounded and they are so unhurried in their unfolding. I heard that oak trees, it takes them up to 100 years to produce acorns. And with Barbara, she has been doing that work. And when she's already on the board, she is already unfolding. And like an oak spreads out, it shares its bounty, incredible bounty, with everyone and everything around it. It shares its shade and nourishes the earth. And I feel like Barbara brings those qualities to the board. She brings such depth and breadth of knowledge and this presence of calm and power, quiet power. And it is just a beautiful thing to behold. And also just personally, Barbara has been, she has been like my better angel on my shoulder. So when there are balls that I've dropped or things that I've forgotten, Barbara just so gently and gracefully is there to tap on my shoulder and say, hey, Maria, have you thought about this? And it's been such a gift. So again, Barbara, thank you for your care, for your attention to detail, for your holding the big picture, for your holding the presence for the board and for our community. We're so grateful. We're so grateful. Yes. And we want to welcome our new board members, Ginny Kelly and Amy Wharton. And what I love about them is that they signed up for the board in the midst of a pandemic, right? And, after, Reverend Patricia had just retired. I mean, just again, sort of knowing what they signed up for. Like when I signed up three years ago, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to roll in, do my thing. They have really signed up for big work. And they are just willing to jump right in. And again, at our retreat yesterday, they jumped right in. So I just feel so grateful and so taken care of in the arms of this board. And I hope that you as a congregation know that everyone on the board is always keeping in our minds and in our hearts what we believe we can do the best to hold this community high. Keep that high watch. Hold you all in love and compassion, and with that potential for greater growth. Normally what we would do is we would have like a whole ceremony with lights and past board members and sharing the reading of the board covenant. And then here we are on Zoom today. So on behalf of all of the board members, the current and incoming board members, I'm going to read our board covenant. And this is a document that is really important and that each of us signs each year. So the Unity of Charlottesville Board of Trustees 2022 Covenant. We commit to upholding and supporting the ministry of Unity of Charlottesville by practicing unity truth principles and by being open and receptive to guidance of the indwelling Christ in all our decisions, or however we conceptualize higher power. We dedicate our tenure on the board to serving God, our spiritual community, and those around us to the best of our ability, to live in a manner that sets the highest example for others to follow, and to remain responsive to God's guidance. We manifest our commitment through our active involvement in Unity of Charlottesville and seek to live and demonstrate a spiritually principled lifestyle by holding sacred space for this church, its members, congregants, fellow board members, and ministers, regularly attending USC functions and Sunday services, warmly greeting all who enter our doors, consistently tithing of time, talent, and treasure, acknowledging the loving service of staff and volunteers, ensuring continuous improvement and excellence by being direct in our communications, no gossip, and keeping our agreements, by actively engaging and taking time for our own spiritual growth process, enthusiastically participating in volunteer services, regularly attending and being on time for board meetings, participating in the annual board retreat, usually held in the second week of January, to the best of our ability, fulfilling the terms to which we were elected. And lastly, maintaining confidentiality. So you can see it's like the specific, like, come to church, and the big picture, like being responsible for this community. And again, I just want to communicate to the congregation how seriously everyone takes being on the board, and also with such great joy and hope. And so again, I want to welcome Amy and Jenny, and I don't see you, but we're sending you love. Thank you. Dawn, you're muted.
Someday I'll learn how to use this stuff. Yeah, with that, let's go to our mission statement. And together, Unity of Charlottesville empowers everyone to express their unique divinity, making a positive difference in the world. So we have a song that's from Blair.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Jackie Woodside. And Jackie's asked now, this is up to you, of course, but she's asked that you would unmute your video so that she can see you as she's speaking. And of course, you have to be guided by your own comfort level there, but that is a request, okay? So my pleasure to introduce Jackie Woodside.
Awesome, thank you, Don. It's great to be here. Is my audio okay? You guys good? Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And I can actually see a screen full of beautiful faces. So if you're camera averse and don't want to be on camera, that's okay. Hi, Maria. Good to see you again. I had such a great time with your board of trustees yesterday. I might say a little bit more about that throughout my talk today, and certainly at the workshop as well. But it was just lovely to spend time with you guys. I do have to say before I begin my talk that you as a congregation at Unity of Charlottesville are really blessed. I do a lot of board and leadership training in the Unity movement and beyond in the business world as well. And what I saw yesterday was really impressive. You guys are in very good hands. You have a really great board. So it was really great. And I'm so sorry to not be down there with you in person. I was really looking forward to going to Unity Charlottesville. I'm from New England, so I'm in Massachusetts right now, where it is a whopping 2 degrees, bright blue skies and sunshine, but it is 2 degrees outside. So I might want to trade weather with you guys. 4 inches of snow in New England isn't really newsworthy, but 2 degrees is a bit on the chilly side. So blessings to all of you. I know 4 or 5 inches of snow down in Virginia is a very big deal. So stay home, stay safe. And I'm just glad that we can be here together. So I just see on chat, I love that song. Yeah, those videos are amazing. You guys have a great music team, and that's the songs were really great. So today, money and the meaning of life. Isn't that a great topic? I love talking about money. I wrote a book called Money Vibe, as most of you probably know. You might have heard a few things about me. So I wrote a book called Money Vibe, and I wrote this book and did this work around money and vibe. Money Vibe is your consciousness about money, your prosperity consciousness, but I wanted to use a little bit more of a contemporary phrase. So I wrote this book really because it was a book that I needed. I needed to go into a deep study of money and consciousness, because my path in life, where I had gone from homeless at one point in my early adulthood now to 7-figure assets and really having a life of wonderful blessings and prosperity, and still needing to learn and grow my money vibe, my money consciousness every single day. So that's what the rest of the day is about. Wherever you are in your journey with money, your journey in life with money, there'll be something here for you today. Because no matter where we are in our journey with money, because numbers are infinite and our lives always involve money. In fact, Jacob Needleman in his book, Money and the Soul, says that money is the main driving force in our current evolution of civilization. Money is the main driving force in our current level of civilization today. I think that's a really important thing for us to take in. And, when I first read that, I riled against it a little bit. I'm like, no, money's not the main driving force. Love is the main driving force, or God is the main driving force. But as I got into it and looked at it a little bit more, I could really see in contemporary culture where we are at in our evolution right now. Money is the main driving force of where we are in evolution. So let's get into this topic a little bit. I'm going to begin with a parable. Once upon a time, there was a couple that lived in a shack by the sea. Their shack was kind of old and beaten and run down. And every day, because they didn't have much money, the husband would go to the sea as a fisherman. and he would cast his line into the sea and bring home their catch for the day. And this one day he went to the sea and he cast his line and it went to the bottom of the ocean, and he reeled in and reeled in. And what he found was he had a very large flounder at the end of his line. And as he reeled it in, the flounder popped out of the water and looked right at the fisherman and said, "Fisherman, fisherman, don't eat me. I am an enchanted prince who's been relegated to the sea." And the fisherman was like, "Oh my goodness, well, of course, if you're a fish who can talk, I should not see." And he went home that day and his wife said, "Did you have a catch?" And he said, "Well, I caught a fish that could talk. He said he was an enchanted prince who'd been relegated to the sea. And so I put him back. So no, I didn't bring home a fish today." And the wife was just beside herself. She said, "What do you mean? You had an enchanted prince on your line. Did you ask him for something?" And he said, "Well, no, why would I ask him for something? He can grant our wish. Go back immediately and ask that enchanted prince to give us a cottage. We need a cottage to live in instead of this old rundown shack." So the husband said, "Well, I can't ask him for something. He's an enchanted prince. He's been made into a fish. I can't ask." She said, "Go at once. Go ask him for a cottage for us to live." So the dejected husband went back to the sea and he said, "Oh, man of the sea, come listen to me, for Alice, my wife, the plague of my life, has sent me to beg a blessing from thee." And sure enough, the flounder came and he said, "What does she want?" And the fisherman said, "Well, my wife wants a cottage for us to live in." And he said, "Go, it is there already." And the fisherman went home, and sure enough, there's a beautiful cottage with a picket fence and flowers all around. And he said, "Ah, Alice, aren't you happy now? You have a cottage to live in." And she said, "We'll see about that." And they went to sleep that night, and over the night, Alice thought and thought and thought. And the next morning she woke up and she said, "I don't know." And they lived in this beautiful cottage for a week, maybe two. And then Alice said, "Go back to the sea. Ask that enchanted prince. We don't need a cottage. I want a palace to live in." No. We can't ask the enchanted prince for a palace. This cottage is just fine. It's more than what we need. No, you must go back to the sea. So off he goes. "Oh, man of the sea, come listen to me, for Alice, my wife, the plague of my life, has sent me to beg a blessing from thee." And the fish appeared. "What does she want?" "Well, she wants a palace to live in. Go home. She is in her palace." So the fisherman went home, and sure enough, a gallant palace with servants and beautiful crystal chandeliers, marble floors, big pillars. And he says, "Surely now, Alice, you will be satisfied, because this is what we can live in." And she said, "We will see." And she went to bed that night and she couldn't sleep. And the next morning she got up and she said, "Send him, go back to the enchanted prince. You must ask him. I don't want a palace. I want to be a king. I want to be the king of the land. Look at all these lands. Look at how much we could have under our rule." He says, Alice, I don't want to be a king. What would we do with being a king?" "Go," she says. And so the fisherman walks back, and now the sea, instead of being calm and blue, it's gray with big rolling waves, and the wind is starting to whip and it blows the fisherman almost over. But he says, "Oh, man of the sea, come listen to me, for Alice, my wife, the plague of my life, has sent me to beg a blessing from thee." And the fish appeared. "What does she want?" "My wife wants to be the king." He said, "Go, she is king already." So the fisherman goes home, and sure enough, there's a grand whole kingdom and chariots and servants and an army outside of this palace and everything. And he says, "Surely, Alice, now you will be content. You are king over all of the land." And she says, "We shall see." And the next morning she woke and she said, No, you must go back. I must be the Pope and the Lord of the sun of everything. I must control all of the earth. I must have all power, all control everything." And he says, No, I won't go back to the sea. She says, "No, the prince will be happy to grant our blessing." And he goes back and he's dejected. And now the sea is there are mountain-sized waves and the storms. The sea is black and he can barely shout, "Oh, man of the sea, come listen to me, for Alice, my wife, the plague of my life, has sent me to beg a blessing from thee." "What does she want?" The prince said. "She wants to be the Lord of it all, the Lord of the sun, the Pope over all of the lands." And he says, "Go home and you shall see." And the fisherman walked home, and sure enough, there sits Alice in front of their old shack where they had lived at the very beginning and where they lived for the rest of their lives. So it's a Brothers Grimm parable, a children's parable, but as with all parables, there's always meaning underneath it. So what's the meaning? Top it in chat here. Just drop it down in chat. What's the lesson of this parable? Go ahead. I'll give you a minute. Type it in chat. What's your takeaway from that parable? I'll open the chat and see what you all have to say. Anybody? What do you got? He needs couples counseling. Yeah, Jane, they could have been clients of mine. Wealth is inside us. I love that. Limit yourself, Don says. Anything else? Be careful what you ask for. Don't want too much, right? Okay. All right. Good. All right. So those, on the surface, greed gets you nothing. She already had everything. That's beautiful. Greed gets you nothing. She had it all along. Exactly. Right. So there's a deeper cut of the story. So on the surface, this dutiful husband is the protagonist. He's the good guy who goes marching off to the sea to ensure that his wife's every wish is fulfilled. And the wife is clearly the antagonist, the one that will never be satisfied. And she's nagging and she's, pushing him forward to do things that he doesn't want to do. And they, in judgment, they end up back in their lowly shack. So it's easy to see on the surface, but as the case with all parables, the meaning, there's a little deeper cut, a little deeper meaning here. Grow where you're planted, Beth. I love that. Love what you have. Yeah, beautiful. So there's actually 5 different characters in this parable, even though on the surface, it looks like there's the husband and the wife, the antagonist and the protagonist. As you deepen your understanding of it, I'm seeing actually 5 different characters. There's the husband and the wife, but also there's the fish, the sea, and the shack, right? So there's kind of the 5 elements of this. In the parable, the sea represents human consciousness. And that as we make requests with fear and uncertainty, remember the waves were getting bigger. There were mountain-sized waves. It was calm at first, and then it was blue with waves, and then it was black and turbulent. So the sea represents the consciousness that we have when we kind of violate our own inner knowing, what the husband was doing, right? When we approach our request with fear and trembling, what the husband was doing, then our consciousness responds in that way. The fish, the enchanted prince, represents God, who hears and receives our desires, who always grants our requests all the way full circle to what we want and what we need, right? The wife represents our vision, our desire, our expansiveness, that this unlimited possibility, unlimited potential. We as children of the living God, we who are one with God, as God, we are unlimited. But because of the other character of the husband, the other part of our psyche, the part that says, no, I can't, I shouldn't, I don't want to upset somebody. What'll they think of me? I don't know if that's a good idea. The fear, the uncertainty, the lack of confidence represented in the husband. The husband represents both the will and the fear. And so he had the fear and he did the actions, but he did it in the consciousness of fear and regret. Therefore, the sea responded. So despite this ever-increasing fear, he did act. He went to the sea. He exercised his will. But both for the husband and the wife, you'll see there was something really important missing. What was missing, Jacob Needleman in his book, Money and the Meaning of Life, states that greed is the inevitable outcome of the absence of an inner aim. Greed is the inevitable outcome in the absence of an inner aim. So what was missing from both characters, the antagonist, the protagonist, from the husband and the wife, was a clear understanding of their purpose, of their aim. They didn't have a relationship with desire or with having or with asking that was coming from a consciousness of Christ consciousness, a God consciousness. So where there is a lack of inner aim, your soul's purpose, your soul's direction, seeking to know and express your purpose, you will be lived by all manner of craving, greed, addiction, codependence. That's what you see in the wife. Becomes insatiable because she had no bearing in a larger context, like some of you said, like be happy with what you have or love what you have. When our relationship with money is not grounded in our spiritual life, in our spiritual practice, it becomes an endless search for more. What I want to propose to you today, in both my talk and in the workshop later, is that your relationship with money is one that is worthy of, deserving of, and in fact requires that you take on your relationship with money as part of, an integral part of your spiritual growth and development. It's an integral part of your spiritual practice. Now, I'm going to assume that most of you have not thought about money in that way. But when you live without incorporating every aspect of your life as part of your spiritual development, then you're relegating your spiritual life over here to something else. But you cannot do that because you are here as God, experiencing and expressing life through the lens of your duty. Your spiritual responsibility is to be the highest and best of your God self on earth in every way. And go back to the opening quote I used from Jacob Needleman, money is the main driving force in our current evolution of civilization today. So if you divorce money, say, oh, well, I don't want to think about that, I don't want to be a part of that, then how are you ever going to evolve to your highest sense, what I call being your God self on earth? How will you evolve to your highest sense of consciousness when the main driving force, whether you agree with that or not, but I think it's an interesting argument, the main driving force, you are relegating it to the side and say, no, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to talk about that. When you live without that inner purpose of growing in consciousness, that everything in your life is part of your spiritual practice, you either become kind of, crazily driven, like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do, and how am I going to get it all done? Because I got to earn money and I got to get by and I got to survive. Or you become withdrawn. When life has no growth, no purpose to grow in consciousness, to integrate your spiritual nature with everything you do, you become either driven or sometimes withdrawn, or maybe you ebb and flow back and forth between the two. Sagal Rinpoche, in his book, The Tibetan Book of the Living and Dying, writes, our driven behavior consists of cramming our lives with compulsive activity so there's no time to confront the real issues, the issues of mission and purpose and calling. Our lives seem to live us, to possess their own bizarre momentum, to carry us away. We feel like we have no control or no choice. How many of you feel that way sometimes? I know I do. One of my other books is on time and this sense of crazed drivenness, that we have no choice. It's called Calming the Chaos, right? So we have this sense that our lives are just kind of carried away and some current by something else. Often, if you look underneath it, driven by money. Often driven by money, or our fear of money, fear of not having money. That survival consciousness where I've got to go earn a living. So the problem, going back to the parables, the problem with the wife is not with the wife's desire, it's her desire with no foundation in consciousness, no foundation in purpose. Desire aligned with the ego will always equal greed, addiction, and being driven, but desire aligned with your inner purpose or essence will always lead to an extraordinary life. When your purpose, when your life is aligned with, I am here to express my God self on earth, and you bring that to church, you bring that to work, you bring that to your community, you bring that to your family, that creates an extraordinary life of passion, purpose, freedom, and relegating the ego to the side, being lived by your essence. I said there were 5 characters in the parable, the last character being the shack. The shack represents belief. The shack represents belief because when you change your outer circumstances, but don't elevate your consciousness or change your beliefs, you will end up in the exact same place that you started from. You appreciate that? How many, the statistics is something like 70% of all lottery winners end up declaring bankruptcy and being flat broke. Because when your outer circumstances change, but your inner condition does not change, you end up in the same place. So each of these elements are represented in this parable. It is through money that the ego manifests itself most powerfully in our culture. It is through money that the ego gets crazed and, kind of driven. Well, money and probably sex also, but that's a talk for another day. When your relationship with money is driven by your ego, fear, lack, sufficiency, you will never be truly free. In fact, I define financial freedom. My definition in Money Vibe for financial freedom is never having to worry about money, whether you have any or not. Never having to worry about money, whether you have any or not. See, what's possible for you is to discover and commit your life to a calling greater than the ego's baseless need for more. Yeah, it's great to play the money game. We talked a lot about this yesterday. I honestly love playing with money because it's so concrete and so tangible. In the Bible, it says, test and prove. I want to test and prove spiritual law, spiritual principle. And money is just a really concrete way to do that. So I love playing the money game. I love bringing more money into my life and the lives of those who study with me. But play the money game with intention. Play the money game with intention. And what intention am I talking about? Surrendering your fears, surrendering your ego to a higher calling. To a higher calling of knowing your purpose as a human being, as a spiritual being, having a human experience. Know that your purpose is that you are here to grow in. That is why you are here. And then bring that to your relationship with money and the meaning of life. The meaning of life, I'm here to grow in consciousness, to be my God self in every single way. And then devote everything you do to that, your time, your relationships, your service at church, and yes, your money. We work. I have a friend of mine who's he's a multimillionaire in real estate. He's made lots and lots of money, owns a ton of real estate, and he complains a lot. He complains a lot about his business, and this property, and I got to get somebody to fix that, and this is such a hassle. And I was just like, Eddie, why don't you just sell it all, man? He's like 65 or something. I was like, dude, actually, no, he just turned 67 2 days ago. I was like, Eddie, dude, just sell it all, man. You don't have to do this. What are you doing all this for anyway? He's like, well, you gotta earn money, right? And I was like, no, dude, you don't. You don't gotta earn money. It's just that's in his head. That's his consciousness. To me, the only gotta do is you gotta serve your higher self. You gotta serve God. And bring that to everything you do. Bring that consciousness to your work. Bring that consciousness to your career. If you bring that consciousness that I'm here to serve God, I don't care, if you're the janitor, the guy who's, serving lunch, or the guy who's doing brain surgery. I don't care what your job is. If you bring, I am here to serve God, to be my highest sense of self, you will know what it's like to live in financial freedom. You will love your work. And I love the workplace, but you're going to love your work because you see it as an expression of your Most High. Rudolf Steiner once said that if men and women awakened, they would spend half their time engaged in meaningful work that brings them joy and satisfaction, and the other half in awe of the opportunity to do so. That's exactly how I felt yesterday when I was leading the retreat for your board. I was just absolutely in awe that I got to spend the day talking about principles that I love with people who were interested in them, who with a shared commitment to growing consciousness in your community and on the planet. And I was getting paid to do it, man. I was exactly how I felt. I was engaged in meaningful work that brings me joy and satisfaction, and I was in awe of the opportunity to do so. Take a moment now and think about your work. Whether your work is in a workplace, or if you're working in the home, taking care of family, whatever your work, your service is in the world, is that the experience that you're having of it? So your path out of kind of this driven, addicted, fearful place is to have faith and a vision and expansiveness, and be willing to face that. You can cultivate your relationship with money in a way that serves your awakening. Did you hear that? I want you to begin thinking about cultivating your relationship with money in a way that serves your awakening. Money is just energy, man. What do we call it? Currency. Why? Because it's a current that flows. Money is substance. I love this. Money is substance. In the Bible, it says, faith is the evidence of things not yet seen, the substance of things hoped for. So one of the ways that money serves your awakening is for you to live in faith for having substance. When you recognize that your life is to serve the purpose of learning to direct life energy, like God is energy, I am energy, all of life is energy, and I'm here to learn to direct energy, then you come into a relationship with money that can serve your evolution because you're really recognizing that it's just a flow. Money vibe, when I wrote the book Money Vibe is the consciousness that you have about money, what we in New Thought have called prosperity consciousness. And you have a consciousness about everything. You've got a consciousness about snowstorms. You have a consciousness about COVID and the pandemic. You have a consciousness about politics and Republicans and Democrats. You have a consciousness about this country and what's happening in it. You have a consciousness about health and fitness and how you eat. And yes, you have a consciousness about money. So how I'm defining that, how I'm defining consciousness in this talk today and in the workshop later, is that it's the sum total of the vibratory pattern of what you believe, your beliefs, how you feel, your emotions, your attitudes, your thoughts, your beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts create a vibration. This is science, guys. It's not just New Age philosophy. If we hook you up to an electroencephalogram or an electromagnetogram, even, you don't even need to put those little things on your head any longer. Do you know that? You can just have magnets around you. An electromagnetogram, we show you beautiful images, then those beautiful images create certain brain waves. And then we show you violent video clips that will create different brain waves. The same is true of your heart chakra energy. We can literally see the energy that's created by how you think and how you feel. That is what I call your money vibe. How you think and how you feel about money creates the vibratory pattern that you live in. And then that vibration goes out into life and connects with the vibration of life at the same resonant level. Do you understand? This is like magic, dudes. This is like magic stuff. My vibe goes out into the world. So if I have a vibe of scarcity and insufficiency and fear and limitation, then that constricted vibe goes out into the universe. And I connect with all manner of difficulty and strife financially. If my vibe is expansive, like, man, I love money. I love God is my source. This is great. Money is just part of my spiritual unfoldment. Then that vibe goes out and connects. So our money is the meaning of life, money in your soul, money is spiritual evolution. Your goal as a spiritual being, having a human experience, is to commit yourself to living, creating a high vibration in your consciousness in relationship to money. To know that financial freedom is never having to worry about money, whether you have any or not. So let me go over just 3 ways that I teach people lots and lots of ways to do this, how to have a high vibe with money. I teach lots of ways to do this, but I'm going to wrap up today just by talking about 3 particular ways. And the workshop will go into this more and into each one of these more. All right, so the how-tos. I always like to be very practical in my teaching. Unity is a practical approach to spiritual and Christian living, right? So let's be practical. So the first how do you live with a high money vibe? And it's go back to the parable. You guys told me this was one of the lessons of the parable. Be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for what you have and the flow of money into and out of your life. How many of you are grateful when you pay the bills? Good, love that, right? Yeah, good, Terry, that's awesome. She's like very grateful when she pays the bills. Good, Terry, I'll send you a bill. Be grateful about paying it for me, right? Because you want to create that flow. Stagnation in the energy of the universe is not a good thing. So you want to be grateful when it comes in. You want to be grateful when it goes out. I recently interviewed an author from Japan named Ken Honda. And he wrote a book called Happy Money. He also wrote about he wrote 18 books last year. In 2021, the dude wrote 18 books. He is the most successful nonfiction author in Japan and has sold over 8 million books on money and happiness and business and success. He's an incredibly successful man, and he's from Japan. And in his book, Happy Money, Ken talks about saying arigato into the flow of money. Arigato is Japanese for thank you or gratitude. Arigato. Oh, did I say it wrong? Go ahead, correct me.
Arigato.
Arigato. Yes, excellent. So arigato is being grateful for the flow. And Ken says, bless, don't just bless the money coming in, bless the money going out. Be thankful for the flow, because everything in our lives is designed for that. Celebrate the fact that you have money to buy groceries. Celebrate the fact that you have money to pay the bills, to go to church, to support your church financially. Bing, 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 to support your church financially. No, Don did not pay me extra to say that. Celebrate that you can give, tithe to your church. Tithing is celebration. You realize that, right? You are giving from your sufficiency because you know that God always gives more. You give gratefully because you know there is always abundant supply. Celebrate the flow of life energy coming into and out of your life. Be grateful for all that you have. Second, how do you live with a high money vibe? Well, the second thing you've got to do, if your vibration is created by what you think and how you feel, what do you got to do about that, dudes? We got to manage how we think and how we feel, right? You can't just be walking around like, oh man, I got the bill and it's just so hard, and leave it there. That's crap. That's not what you're designed to do. As people who are committed to new thought, spirituality and new thought living, you've got to be aware of what you're thinking and feeling, but it doesn't stop there. Like, I can be aware of every crappy thought I have. But be with me, dudes. It is your spiritual responsibility to transform those thoughts and feelings. Be aware of what you are thinking and feeling. Awareness is the keys to the kingdom. But then be like, yeah, I'm really aware that I'm pissed off at them for saying what they said. No, it doesn't stop there. It starts with awareness, but then you transform that thought. You choose a higher thought. You choose a more loving thought. And that requires a certain amount of spiritual and psychological maturity and sophistication. Yes, you have to give up being the victim. You have to give up blaming other people and making them wrong for your life circumstances. No, your life is about you and your vibration. Your life is an out picturing, centering out what you think, feel, and believe within. Manage your stress, man. If you're feeling stressed out, you have skills to do something about that. Whatever that is for you. Take a walk, call a friend, take a hot bath, pray, affirm, meditate. Learn how to change your thoughts and feelings. I've said since my son was 2 years old, poor kid, he's 16 now, poor kid. I said to him almost every freaking day, honey, the most important thing you will ever learn, and now he can finish the sentence, of course, is how to manage your thoughts and emotions and behavior. I always add behavior. Yes, let's add behavior to that. Most important thing you will ever learn is how to manage your thoughts, your emotions, and your behavior. Why? Because that's what creates the vibration. Your behavior is just an afterword, the outpicturing of what you already think and believe and how you feel. So number 2, manage your thoughts and emotions. Celebrate life. I mean, that's such a great way to change consciousness, is to celebrate every aspect of your life. Are you guys celebrating the snowstorm today? Are you celebrating that we're on Zoom? It's awesome. Don, I love that you started that, service with that. Isn't it awesome that we have this technology? Remembering when we didn't have this technology, being on a conference call. And before that, it was just like, oh, sorry, no church. And here we are connected. Celebrate every area of your life. Number 3, third way to, how do you live a high vibe life? That's what we're talking about, right? 3 aspects. How do you live a high vibe life with money? So the first one is be grateful for the flow coming in and going out. Celebrate that you have money to pay the bills, even when you don't. Celebrate that the money's coming in for the bills to get paid, right? If that's the case. Manage your thoughts and emotions about money. Don't be stressed about money. Financial freedom, never having to worry about money, whether you have any or not. And then the third one, go into the shack. The shack in the parable represents beliefs. Cultivate high vibe beliefs about money. And the board members, can share with you that we did some really hard work yesterday, really diving into what do you really believe? Do you believe that you deserve to have prosperity and financial abundance? Do you believe that? Do you deserve financial abundance and prosperity? What we got to yesterday is not only do I believe it, but it is my spiritual responsibility to create abundance in my life. In fact, I went so far yesterday as to say, when you're only concerned about my well-being, my financial abundance, my church's well-being, when your thought about prosperity stops with you, you're selfish. Because prosperity is for everyone. And it's because we're awake and aware of these powerful consciousness principles, it behooves us then to be responsible, not just for myself, but for the world, however you define that. To have so much prosperity that I have enough to care and to share with those around me. I was at a coaching client's house. I went to her job with her to see her workplace, and then we went over to have lunch at her house. And as we were walking out, she grabbed her purse and said, last week I went over to a friend's house and she's going through this divorce and she was having so much difficulty, with her kids and couldn't quite get by because of the divorce and all the legal expenses. She was having a hard time. So, so I just, as I was walking out, as I was walking out of her house, I reached in my purse. I left a bunch of cash on her side table at the door. I was like, dude, that's like so awesome. That is like really awesome of you. I was like, I'm just curious, what'd you leave her? She said, oh, I reached in, I grabbed $1,000 and put it on the table. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't walk around with like $1,000 in my wallet. There was something about her money consciousness that not only she had $1,000 in her wallet or more, that she had that to just drop it off at her friend's house. One of the ways that I cultivate high beliefs about money and manage my money is that I actually have a savings account called my generosity fund, my giving fund. And 10% of all my earnings goes into that savings account called generosity and giving. And it's where I tithe from, it's where I give financial gifts like that. I have actually started carrying larger amounts of cash with me since that day of seeing what my friend was doing. Right, so cultivate high vibe beliefs about money. And that's just a simple example about what she believed. The parable is a really good example. If what you believe about money is limited and constricted, that's what you will continue to create. So do you believe you deserve financial wellness? Do you believe in and trust yourself with money? Do you believe in yourself? Do you trust yourself with money? That's a really good question. Do you know that God is your source of all financial blessings, of all blessings, that God is your source and that the consciousness of God is your supply? We worked with that affirmative statement yesterday. That's a quote from Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of the Unity Movement. God is my source and the consciousness of God is my supply. Dwelling in that thought, contemplating that thought in prayer has really changed my life. And it is the foundation. It's the foundational prosperity principle of unity. God is my source, not my job, not my alimony, not the government, not the economy. God is my source. I'm so excited to bring these principles to you today because I know that when you take them on and live them, they change your life. So in the parable, the husband, the wife, the fish, the sea, and the shack. I invite you to see yourself in each of those places. The wife that had endless desire and demandingness, the husband who approached his requests with fear and uncertainty, the fish that gave and gave and gave until it got tired of giving, the sea that was turbulent as the requests were made with fear and trepidation, and the shack, the foundation of your belief. What are your beliefs creating in your life? Just look around, look at your checkbook, look at the condition of your house. That, the outpicturing of your life is your current consciousness. And then what vision do you have How does God want to express through and as you to the highest and best of your capability? Let's take some of these thoughts now as we go into some musical reflection, and then we'll go into a time of meditation.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Let's take that thought now into a time of meditation. If you're comfortable doing so, I invite you to close your outer eyes so that your inner eyes may awaken. Centering yourself now in your body, feeling the energy and the vibration of our connection with one another, even though we are miles apart, spread all across the region. We are one mind, one heart in Christ. Feel the energetic vibration around your body, and then center yourself around your heart chakra, breathing in deeply, a cleansing breath through your heart, and release. And again, take a deep cleansing breath, breathing in through your heart chakra, and release. Notice that when your breathing slows down, your body and mind immediately follow suit. As we move into this time of meditation, we reflect on the vibration of that phrase, I am so blessed. We each have so many blessings in our lives. The blessing to be in this community, blessings of technology, to have a phone or a computer to log on and be in the sense of unity and oneness with like-minded people, one heart, one mind in the Christ consciousness. We're blessed to have food and clothing. We're blessed with our health and people to help care for our health and well-being. We're blessed with spiritual leaders like the board and Reverend Don and his wife. We're blessed with the unity movement. We're blessed to live in a country where we are free to express our religion. We are so blessed. And yet, there are times that anxiety and fear and uncertainty live inside of our consciousness. I invite you now, during this time of meditation, to simply center yourself, not in the fear and the anxiety. Let that be released into the sea of nothingness. Let that go up off of your shoulders, to be taken up into the ethers, into the etheric field and dissolved. Any fear, any lack, any insufficiency, let it just be taken off of you and dissolved into the sea where nothing exists. and presence your mind now on the blessings. All of the blessings in your life, the people, the finances, all the things, the opportunities, the ideas, all of the things that you've been given and blessed. And I invite you now, as we go into a time of silence, to ask God to reveal to you, given your blessings, how should you give? How is God calling you, given that you've been so blessed in so many ways? How is God calling you to step up, do more, give more, say more, be engaged? Maybe it's not doing more, maybe it's just being more loving. Maybe it's not saying more, maybe it's listening more. But just in this moment now of silent, quiet, reflection, meditation, I invite you to just drop this question into this moment of reflection and contemplation. God, I am so blessed. How? How shall I give? How shall I serve? How, God, do you want to express through and as me right here, right now? Take this question now into a moment of silent reflection. And we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for revealing to us how we can express more of our gratitude, more of our blessings back into the world. We're grateful for the messages that we've just received and for those that are to come. I invite you today, throughout the rest of this fellowship, into the workshop and into your week, to stay open and receptive to the guidance and direction of Spirit, of how can I serve, given that I'm so blessed. How does God want to express through and as me? And we say, thank you, God, for this time of union, community, oneness, connection. We thank you for the elevation of consciousness in our lives and in our world. As any time any one of us grows and elevates in consciousness back to the divinity from which we came, all of humanity changes and transforms. This is our prayer. This is our belief. And so it is. Amen.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you so much. And this is a time in our service where generally we offer an opportunity for giving. And if you go into your chat room and scroll all the way to the top, there's a link to the online giving with Tithely that you can go if you feel so inclined. You can give there, or you can go to our website, unitycharlottesville.org, and click on the donate link, or you can go to your app, our new app, and do that, or you can send a check into Unity of Charlottesville, all these different ways. I want to thank everyone who's here for the first time today. Next week, God willing, we will be meeting in person again, but always during this time, we're meeting also on Zoom. Next week, we'll return to YouTube and Facebook and our website as well. So will you join me in our affirmation, which is next? There should be a slide for that, guys. And so we can do this with feeling together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Ooh, I claim a blessing. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. This is how I start the day, knowing good is on its way. I am claiming perfect health, love and laughter, friends and wealth. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. With conviction undeterred and power of the spoken word, take my life and redefine, break the shackles of my mind. In the morning when I get out of bed, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Before I even lift my head, I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. I claim a blessing. Lift my thoughts to a higher ground, knowing miracles are all around. Each day unfolds as it should when I'm focusing on my good. Life is filled with opportunities, say I wonder what good is coming to me. Oh, I claim a blessing. I claim it. 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 Oh, I claim a blessing. Claim it.
Thank you, Blair, and our pandemic singers, Rhonda and Aisha. Thank you so much. So we do have a couple of announcements. First of all, I want to let you know about the Money Vibe workshop. That's more with Jackie to go delve into this stuff more deeply this afternoon from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And Jackie, would you like to say anything about the workshop?
Yeah, sure. So I would love to get to spend some more time with you guys. And I ended my talk today with kind of 3 how-tos because I do like to be practical, and it's a practical approach to spiritual living. But I just want to say what we'll be doing is we'll be assessing your current money vibe. I will, so you get to look at, kind of where you are with your current vibration and thoughts about money. And I'll be teaching my money vibe model so that you can have that in your, that frame in your mind to help you grow your consciousness. And then we're going to look at your financial beliefs, because that's really the seat of your consciousness. And then I'm going to teach some high vibe, money vibe beliefs. And then I'm going to teach you how to change. Like, it's so easy, like, oh, think good thoughts. It's like, yeah, but I don't always think good thoughts. Sometimes my head is really messed up, So I'm going to actually teach you some very specific strategies on how you can change your thoughts and emotions. And we'll do some practice exercises with that as well. So it's very interactive. My style is very casual, and I'll be engaged in a dialogue with you, while also teaching you some really cool stuff. I'll also be inviting you to do a 30-day Money Vibe challenge as a community and with me and the board. And so it's really going to be a lot of fun, lots of information, lots of reasons to hang out together.
Thank you, Jackie. And the suggested love offering is $25, but nobody's turned away. You pay what you can. And this is on Zoom only. So it's the same Zoom link that you are on right now. And if you can either kind of go off, have some lunch, and then come back, or you can just log on again through Zoom through the same Sunday link. And that Sunday link is also listed on our website, unitycharlottesville.org. If you go to the very top of our website where it says turn into the Sunday links, and then you can click on Zoom. So the next thing to mention is our midweek prayer service, which is every Wednesday from 6:30 to 7. We hope you'll join us there. And guys, yeah, there you go. Just go to the next slide there. Okay, I'll just continue. This coming Thursday, the Women of Unity will be meeting on Zoom only. And the guest speaker is Lisa Ellison. The title is How to Tell a Story Readers Will Love. So if you're an aspiring writer, or if you're an aspiring journalist, or if you're just keeping a journal for yourself, Lisa, I think you're on. Lisa, would you like to say a word about this, about your talk?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I am in Nelson County where it is snowing and my internet connection is a little bit spotty, so my video is off. We are going to have an opportunity to learn about the elements of storytelling and then do a lot of play. So we're going to play around with what it's like to write a story and share a story with each other. And you'll have an opportunity to ask questions about what might be next if you really want to write a story, whether that's a picture book, an essay that you'd like to get published, or even a novel or memoir.
Great, thank you so much. Well, we're having our Taze service on January 30th, and we hope you'll join us for that. Bob, you can just keep advancing the slides, please, if that would be all right. And then on our next workshop, Sunday, February 5th, is God's Gift to Gaia, Guidance for Awakening Humans. That will be a book discussion facilitated by Ginger Collier. That's on February 5th. How many of you received our text alert about the Sunday service today? Did many of you get that? Excellent. So it's kind of sort of working. We were able to send out the text, but we weren't able to get everybody on the text alert. So that's a software issue that we're dealing with, but hopefully we'll have that operating soon. But if you would like to receive text alerts where we can tell you right on the Sunday morning what's going on, please call the office and just give us your cell phone. That's what we need to do that. Our pastoral care team is still operative, so anybody who's having a prayer need or any kind of pastoral need, please call our church office. And I also want to say, we don't know, I know that a lot of folks were a little bit traumatized by this last snowstorm we had where everybody lost power. So if that happens again, and if the church has power, we would like to be able to offer the church as a warming shelter, you know, if the church has power. So if you lose power during this storm, this next storm, call the church office. Most likely Monday we will be digging out, but from Tuesday on. And if you need a place to get warm, or if you need a place to cook, or just charge your phone, or even sleep over, just call the church office and let us know, and we'll try to take care of you. That's assuming the church has power as well. And finally, virtual fellowship. If you'd like to stay on for a few minutes right after this service is over, we'll be on, and Jack has agreed to be with us for a few minutes if you have any questions about the service. And we'll look forward to seeing you there. So we want to bless our children wherever they are. And I hope that we can hold this together. You know, we still are holding in our consciousness a prayer vibe of having a thriving and dynamic youth and family ministry here. So please join me in this affirmation for our children. Together, children, Uniteens, YOUers, teachers, and parents, you are loved, special, and important. We will hold that dear to our hearts and hopefully see our children and families back in church soon. Just want to thank everybody. Before we do the song, please hold that for a moment. Before we hold that, please pause that for a moment. Thank you. I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank Jackie Woodside for being with us this morning. Thank you so much, Jackie. I want to thank our tech team, which has been standing by, Bob and Boyan and John, and Greg is there. And thank you so much for just being there behind. And Blair, for your wonderful, wonderful dedication and your music videos, and Rhonda and Aisha for doing that. Johnny is there as well. Thank you all for helping out this morning. So let's join together in our prayer for protection. There was a slide for that, but I think you all know it. So we'll just do it together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and wherever God is, all is well. And now if we could have the peace song.
One, two, three. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was born to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Everybody, thank you, everybody. Stay safe. Have a great day, and see you back at 1 o'clock. And we'll do virtual fellowship now. So if you'd like to stay on, Jackie will be here. And if you don't have any questions or any comments or just want to share,